to move over to YouTube. The stream on, for those of you folks that are hopping on with us now, the stream on Facebook took a dump. I don't know what the heck's going on with Facebook stream, but it's dead. So what we have done is we've moved over to the YouTube action. So the YouTube feed should be starting in just a moment. And, everybody that's out there, please be patient with us today as Facebook is apparently giving us nightmares again. Mark, they can see you, so they can hear you. So go ahead and tell them. So for those of you that got cut off earlier, Mark was telling a story about just the growth of their area and the people who are really making the biggest difference. And Mark brought up that young kids really should be considered for this grip team. All right, Mark, tell us what your thoughts are on that.
So, I mean, I had a good testimony of that this last weekend in Spring, Texas, when we played that championship. My son was down 3 strokes in the first round, first round, and he grabbed his lace, and the kid in front of me, I mean, nothing knocked the kid. The kid was backhanded like 250 foot. I mean, at 10 years old, he was bombing the disc. I mean, he knew his plastic. He knew what he was going to throw. But then my son grabbed his lace, firm lace that Vinnie Miller gave it to him, and he loves that thing. So he looks at the trees. He's going to zigzag it out of the trees. He takes it, launches it, zigzag out of the trees, skips, bounces up right up on the basket, hits the bottom of the basket. And that kid, I mean, from that point on, that kid was really eyeballing his run. I mean, he wanted to know what disc he was fixing to throw, he was following him. And so the very next hole, my son grabs his disc, he's holding his hand, and he's like, "What are you throwing?" He saw him throwing my distance driver, my lace. So the kid changes his disc altogether just because my son grabbed his lace. And after the match was over with, after everything was over with, all the cards tallied up, we're sitting there waiting on for Ricky to show up, Ricky Wasaki to show up, and the kid's like, "Hey, can I throw your lace?" And my son's like, "Yeah, sure, take it out there and bomb it, just backhand it." He's showing him how to backhand it. My son can't backhand quite that far. He's still learning how to. And that kid backhand that disc, I guarantee every bit of 320 feet. I mean, just crushed that disc. And instantly, he walked right into that shop. That shop sold Vibram. He walked right in there and asked his mom to buy him a Vibram disc, and it was game on. And for with me, I mean, to get that done in a matter of minutes, I mean, the influence of that is huge. If we can start getting our fan base that, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be all kids. Maybe 1 or 2 good, outstanding kids that stand out from everybody else that promote Vibram, in a good, positive way. I believe that that's going to take it leaps and bounds. Because if the kids throwing Vibram, more likely their parents are going to be throwing Vibram. And it just dominoes from there. Then his buddies throwing Vibram. Then his buddies' kids throwing Vibram. And it'll just grow like wildfire. Once they realize that disc, 10 years from now, it's still going to show the exact same way. And you can't tear it up. I mean, unless you hit it with a lawnmower.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's going to be awesome. I think that's going to be beneficial for Vibram if they do that.
Yeah, I would agree, man. I've found that, with my kids, of course, most parents that, they go and they want their kids to play disc golf. What do? They look for a cheap option. They go and they buy some DX plastic. Well, then 2 or 3 months later, the kid's bitching that, his driver doesn't do the same thing anymore. And it's just not, this disc doesn't fly, I need a new one. And then it's just a mess. And I found that, with my kids, as soon as they started bagging Vibram discs on a regular basis, they got more consistent too, because they were throwing the disc and it didn't change on them. And, I think that's important. And I think that if this grip team can figure out a way, like you said, and to get kids involved, it could make a huge difference, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing that I usually pride myself when I go to talk to a kid, in front of his parents. I tell his parents, this disc right here, and I've demonstrated it before, just whack a tree with it hard as I can throw it, 5 foot away from the tree, just murder that tree. Bark comes flying off. pick the disc up and I hand the disc to the parent. I'm like, find out where I hit that tree at. And they're like, they start looking and looking and looking. And I was like, wow. I was like, and look at the disc. Look at the shape of the disc. It's not even warped. It's not even damaged. And this disc is a pre-PDGA. It's been around a day or two. This disc has been around a few days, you know. And here's a soft disc, you know, and I'll show them the difference. A soft disc do the exact same thing, you know. Show me where I hit it. Show me where I damaged my disc. I was like, if there's no damage, the flight path is going to be exactly the same. And if it is damaged, if it is warped, if it ever does warp, then you can take it, you know, I explained to them, you can take it in hot water, boil it, to pull it out, you know, and it'll be just like new again.
Yep.
And they're like, I can't believe that. I'm like, it's true. It's not plastic.
Yeah, that's the craziest part is that, you know, when people realize that, you know, these discs are actually lasting longer, it's like, whoa, this is really cool.
Yeah, and that's another thing, you know, and you know, after I show them that trick, I pull my shoes off and I show them, you know, the sole of my shoe, you know, Vibram soles. You know, I've had these shoes a year and 8 months now, and this is my throwing heel. And they're like, that's your throwing heel? It's not even, you can still see the nipples on it. It's still great.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's Vibram. That's what it is. It's meant to last. You buy it one time, and you're going to have to throw it away or lose it before you decide to tear it up.
So one of the questions that was actually on this form was, what other products of Vibram do you own? Five Fingers, Furoshiki, soled boots. So obviously you own some soled boots. You got any Five Fingers in your mix, man?
No, I do not. I have not ventured out to get any Five Fingers. Fortunately, I haven't had the time or the extra cash.
Love,
I like to buy my Vibram collector group disc to venture out and give me some Five Fingers. I've seen them. I've seen them online, but I haven't purchased any yet.
I got you. That's fair. I've got just one pair myself. I had two other pair. I ended up giving them to my son. They were a little bit small on me, so you know, it's one of those things. Well, I'll be honest with you, Mark. This has been awesome, man. You brought up some great points. You know, we had to split us between Facebook and YouTube, but we got it done. And you know, and you guys in Texas, man, are impressive. Honestly, you guys are impressive. The way that you guys love each other down there, and the way that you guys spread the Vibram spirit, it is very, very obvious. And you know, around my part, you know, Innova's, you know, 25 minutes away, so I don't get a whole lot of Vibram love around here. You know, I walk up and people look at me like I'm a little bit crazy, which I probably am, but you know, it's a little bit more so.
Down here, they know us by heart. You know, we walk into the store like, oh, there's another rubberhead. You know, you got to use rubber on it. You know, they don't carry Vibram either, so we're like, hey, you got to use rubber on the shelf, and they're like, no. Or if they do, they hold it back because they know when we walk in, that's the only thing we're looking for. They're like, hey, here's this. You know, how much you want for it? Give me a couple dollars each. You know, done. Go home, take a magic eraser, and you got a brand new disc.
So that's interesting. With all you guys that throw Vibram, why aren't these local stores? I mean, obviously you're doing your thing now, so who cares too much? But you know, why weren't they stocking it before? I mean, they obviously have people that should buy it.
I feel like the owners of the stores, they're really stuck on plastic, and so that's where their drive is. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, there is a lot of people that throw rubber, but there's a lot more that doesn't.
Yeah.
So and that's all motivated towards sales, you know, obviously. So I think it's slowly changing because I know a couple of the stores, they put the application in to become a Vibram dealer. So and I go in and look for used bins. They're like, yeah, we put our application in, and it's just a matter of time.
Do you think that's going to be a struggle still then for, you know, the Vibram Street Team? You know, one of the things that sounds like they're trying, or the Vibram Street Team, pardon me, the Vibram Grip Team, you know, as they're, you know, through this questionnaire and through this form they've got out there, it sounds like what they're trying to push towards is, you know, for us to get out there, you know, us meaning, you know, the big fans, you know, to get out there and try to grow the brand, but also to probably, I would guess, to, you know, talk to some of these retailers and be like, hey, dude, you need to get some discs in here. So how do you think we can overcome that? I mean, obviously, you know, getting some formal training from disc golf, from Vibram Disc Golf, is going to be a piece to that. I think that'll be important. But what do you think someone's going to have to do to really overcome those plastic guys?
Well, I think, like I say, the to overcome it, Vibram's doing a really good job. Bradley hits a mini pretty regularly, and Crowley, he hits that mini pretty. And the first time I went out there and played the mini, I hit an ace. So I like the place already. So, but he goes out quite a bit, and you know, I think he's convinced the TD to start carrying some rubber down there. So, I mean, with that being said, if we can get the TDs to maybe stocks even 2 disc, even 3 disc Vibram, you know, the grip team is going to have to. I feel like maybe they need to be able to get a discount on the disc to be able to promote the disc, you know, in a fashion to where purchase at a discount rate and just kind of give it away when you go to the tournament as a winning disc, or you know, just find somebody struggling on the course and be like, hey, bag this, chunk this, you know, give me your, and I'll meet you back here in a week, and I'll give you your thoughts on it, and you know, and maybe I'll give you another disc, and you know, just kind of run it through their hands, kind of deal. Promotion within a promotion kind of thing. So, I mean, it's gonna be a struggle. Definitely gonna be a struggle. It's not something that's gonna be fixed in the next month or so. I would like to know. Of course, I definitely would like to be a part of the grip team, but I just hope that if all else fails, maybe they get enough people, enough grip members, enough valued grip members to promote the brand, not just in a rural area, just one guy way off and, you know, by himself. But that's going to be very key. And I really like where Vibram's going with this, because the playing all the tournaments, you know, paying an outrageous amount of money just trying to hit the circuit, you know, on a low dollar guy like me, you know, it breaks the bank.
Yeah.
To go all across Texas to play these tournaments. I can't afford to, or across the United States. And I know my next biggest trip that I'm saving up for right now is going to be going to the junior U.S. Junior Championship, or the Junior World Championship this coming year for my sons. But I mean, and that's going to be a promoting rubber the whole way up there, the whole time we're up there, and all the way back.
That's awesome. So, man. That's awesome. Well, I greatly appreciate all of your insight tonight, man. I mean, you brought up some awesome stuff. I mean, not that I wasn't thinking about kids, because I mean, I've talked several times about having local events here, but just that I agree with you. I think that if this grip team pushes towards that, it could make a really, really big difference. So what we're going to do, man, I'm going to move on. We're going to talk to Brad tonight, and we're going to talk to Chase tonight as well. But, man, it has been awesome having you on. We're definitely going to have you back again, especially when this grip team kicks off. I hope that you're part of that group. I see what you've been doing in the collectors group. And
yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. I hope that we'll continue to have opportunities to talk to you in the future, man. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, guys. So we've got next coming up, Brad Silvers. So I met Brad several months back. Actually, it's probably years now at this point. You know, he and I went to the Vibram Birdie Bash World Championships. And when we went to the Vibram Birdie Bash World Championships, Brad was, you know, really taking it upon himself to, you know, get things kicked off with an event before the Birdie Bash Championships, which is awesome. We ended up doing basically, I'm waiting on him to join here. We basically did a dubs tournament. So, you know, it was, give me 1 second, I'm gonna message. Um, it was a Dubs tournament before the Birdie Bash World Championship. So, Brad set that up. He organized it, and then everybody who got there early that night, the night before, was able to participate in the Dubs, which turned out really awesome. I had an opportunity to play a couple rounds with some guys in the group, and it was a good time. So, Brad is also, or was, part of the test team. If I remember correctly, Brad, you won your spot that day at Birdie Bash World Championships, right?
I did. I was pretty stoked that it happened.
Yeah, I was part. I actually won my spot by guessing the name of the next disc, which was the Valley at the time, was how I ended up getting my spot. And then when I was at Birdie Bash World Championships and heard that they're giving out spots, it was like, oh man, this is awesome. And I actually got to record all you guys throwing your throws to try to win that spot. It was a good time.
Yeah, there. You have a video of me on YouTube still that me my winning throw. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that you were part of that group. So man, we saw this announcement today. The grip team is out there. Being part of the test team, there's been frustrations with the test team, I think, in general. Some of us out there got a little bit concerned that, we may not have been getting, an opportunity to, I don't know, actually get more discs, right? So we
Right.
only had one disc, which was kind of a bummer. And so I maybe two discs. I think I got an Arch, a Notch, and maybe the Onyx, right?
Here we go.
I guess I
Here's
got
my
the Vamp too.
one disc that I got.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had you got, which one is that? The Vamp?
It's the Vamp, yeah.
Okay. So what's your thoughts on this new grip team rolling out, man? I mean, you saw it come out today. Have you filled out the application yet? And if not, are you going to?
As soon as I got home from work, probably a half hour before I got on here with you, 45 minutes. And actually, I sat in my driveway because I was actually, don't tell anybody, but I was actually filling it out as I was driving home from work. And so sat in my driveway for probably an extra, I don't know, 20 minutes to a half hour, basically putting my, my disc golf biography. So it was,
Nice.
it was pretty exciting.
That is, man. That's cool that you were doing it, on the way home. Couldn't wait. I like it. So what is your thoughts on, what they've rolled out so far, and what concerns do you have, and what questions do you have out there that, we hopefully will get answered?
I'm just, I'm more curious to find out more info, I guess. I kind of took it as you took it, as basically it is just, it's pretty much, the street team essentially.
That's what it sounds like.
In my area, I'm really about the only one, probably within 45 minutes to an hour that I know that even throws Vibram. My friends, they make fun of me every single day. I continue to throw it. I continue to try to push it off on them. A couple of them do have a couple of my discs in their bag. I basically made sure that I told them that, hey, I'm letting you loan this, or I'm loaning this to you. If you don't end up liking it, I do want it back, type of stuff. But if you like it, I tell them it's yours to keep for as long as you want. So.
Yeah, I always tell people that too. If you don't like the disc, that's fine, but give it to somebody else, or give it back, right? So I'll hand it off to somebody else that will. I don't want them to go into a box and just sit there and not be used, especially when we're giving them out. So if you made it on the grip team, and we were given an opportunity with the grip team to get some swag or some discounted discs and that sort of thing to try to promote. Do you think that would help you with some of the folks in your local crowd?
I mean, I think so. I mean, I have some swag now. It's pretty much all I wear when I play. Everybody, like I said, they continue to, bust my balls about it, but they're always curious and asking questions, and I'm just continuing to inform them of why I like it and why they should try it and all about it. So. I'm completely fine with swag and discs. You don't have to pay me any compensation of any sort to promote your brand. So, I'm completely cool with just that by itself. So,
Yeah, I think that would be nice, man. What do you think about the local stores there? Do you have any local stores that just for whatever reason aren't carrying it, or are your local stores carrying Vibram pretty much?
I actually do not have a local store at all.
Okay,
My
wow.
closest store is probably 45 minutes away, and
Okay,
I know for sure that they do not carry Vibram discs. I hear there's a Play It Again Sports in the area that does carry it. They're about an hour and 15 minutes away. So
no kidding. So when we look at, I think what the goal is, with this grip team is trying to grow everything from the ground up, right? Trying to work from the grassroots. When you in a situation like yourself, how do you if you got onto the grip team, how do you feel like you would be able to grow it, considering you can't, it's not like you're going to go into a retailer and get that retailer to stock and then tell everybody, hey, go to this retailer and buy discs from them, right? You don't have
right.
that option. So what do you think that I'm curious. I mean, they didn't
Well,
obviously detail it, so I'd be interested to see what they do.
for me, I don't know for sure that it's that I'm gonna be voted for that, but the disc golf club that I'm part of, we kind of have like a bigger governing body, I guess. Disc golf club.
Okay.
It's the Neo DGA. That's the Northeast Ohio Disc Golf Association. Um, we're not really. It is a club. Don't get me wrong. It is a pretty good club, but it's not like your typical club that individually runs tournaments. Has merchandise. For payouts and stuff like that. It was more created to help start the smaller clubs for each local course in each area of of Northeast Ohio.
Okay.
Um, so a couple things we do, like we have a winter series, which is our big fundraiser every year. We have, I think last year there was 7 events plus a finals, and it's a point series. It's a cheap tournament. It's non-sanctioned, $20 for any individual to play. $10 of that goes towards our fundraiser, which is basically growing disc golf in Northeast Ohio.
Okay.
So $10 of every person. At the end of the year, each club that is part of the Neo DGA, they submit an application to receive some of those funds that we've raised. So, for example, last year we had a course locally that only had 12 holes. My actual local disc golf club, we applied. We were able to get funds to purchase 6 new baskets. So it made it an 18-hole course. Out of all the people that won last year, got their application accepted. One was they got concrete pads at their current course, and it's usually not a full. I think the most you can get from it is like $1,000. But it's cool. You have to have a detailed plan. You have to have everything about it. It's not just like, hey, I want these funds. I mean, you have to have approvals from parks, proposals. I mean, it's like a whole, 3-4 page report that you're writing up to get these funds. But this Neo DGA that I'm part of, on November 11th, one of our club members now is stepping down as director of that.
Okay.
And he basically recommended that, he thinks it's something that I have a chance of getting voted in as director. So I said, why not? So just right there for me is going to be, a huge stepping stone to help me promote Vibram in our area, because right now my club, my local club, is the only club that, for payouts and stuff like that carry Vibram discs. And I think I talked them into buying, I don't know, 20 discs last year. I would say out of those 20 discs, probably 12 of them have been paid to me for winnings, which was awesome because I actually got to select some Vibram discs for, for placing, as opposed to picking some plastic discs that just get given, that I give away, or
right.
give to my son, throw in my son's bag, or just whatever, because, that's always frustrating to me that none of the other clubs, have any discs that I want. So it's kind of a turnoff for me to even want to play in the tournament sometimes. I always do, but so that's just one thing. I want to try to, have all the other clubs that are under the Neo DGA just have a bigger variety of discs. A couple of them I understand. We have, the next kind of like the next county over from us, one of their, their club member is actually a Discraft sponsored player.
Okay.
So of course they mostly have, Discraft discs. I understand, situations like that. But,
So-
not everybody throws Discraft. Not everybody obviously throws Vibram. Not everybody throws Innova. So it's just nice to, have a mixture of everything that's available for everybody.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
like one of my pushes that I want to do, for, if I am, elected the director of the Neo DGA.
So when you look at, I'll be honest with you, man, I'm in Charlotte or just outside of Charlotte, and we have 50 courses within 30 minutes of me or something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous how many courses there are. And so when I thought about this grip team and I saw what came out, and just in my mind, I'm picturing my environment. I'm picturing how many people, I mean, just on the weeklies, there's 20, 30 people, and that we have weekly events every single day of the week, right? And that's in Gastonia, and which is where I am, and in Charlotte. So for me, I look at it and go, man, grip team, I could literally have something to do every single day, and I could literally do multiple events per day if I wanted to, and stop by and do some growth. Man, it's really kind of tricky with people like yourself that are in a rural environment.
Right.
It's going to be kind of challenging for you guys, but it will also, I would hope anyway, give you a leg up to say, hey, here's the deal, guys. I'm part of this grip team. I want to help grow this group, whether you're a director of the group or just a member of the group or what have you. And hopefully that'll allow you to do a little bit more of that.
Right. Yeah, and I think so. I think it will. We do have, I would say within an hour's drive, I probably have, 50 to 75 courses. So I mean, that is, a good thing too. So
that's awesome, man.
And then not far out is, all the, I'm only probably an hour and 15 minutes from Pittsburgh. So I'm less than an hour and 15 minutes from all the courses that were played for, the Pittsburgh Pro Worlds a couple years ago. So
that's cool. Well, I'm not going to keep you too much longer, man. I'm going to try to wrap things up and catch up with Chase Hayden if I can. I know he's probably watching the World Series and seeing the Astros. I'm taking a peek here. We're at 5-0 Astros. It looks like it's going to be pretty much an Astro win if they can keep this pace up. So hopefully that'll be the case. So I'm going to try to reach out to him and see if we can get him on for a couple minutes. And then I'm going to call it quits for tonight. It's been a long night tonight, but I know that, with what we've got going with this grip team, man, it would be awesome to see folks like yourself that I know that have been actively growing this thing for no reason at all other than we just love it, right? To try to get some, you get a patch on your sleeve that says, hey, I'm allowed to do this and you should listen
that's
to
all
me.
I want.
Exactly, man.
That's what, my brother-in-law, Isaac Cheney, was a Vibram sponsored player. And he's the one that got me into the sport. I still have the first Obex that he gave me. I still bag it. It's my favorite disc. I use it for everything. And, so yeah, I mean, just it was kind of like, love from the start. I had, it's all I had was Vibram discs. And then I started trying other ones. I just didn't like them, so.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, I appreciate you joining me, Brad, especially on short notice and hopping on with me. And I will definitely be catching up with you once this grip team thing rolls out a little bit more and see what your thoughts are as we get more details. Are you cool with that?
Sounds good, man.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
All right, guys. So that was Brad Silvers. He's an old school guy. He's been with the collectors group for some time, and You know, you heard it from him. I mean, he's trying to do some extra things, you know, as much as he can, and hopefully, um, you know, with what we've got going on with this grip team, you know, Vibram can get some things going that will allow folks like Brad, in a rural area, to have an avenue that will give them a reason, or not necessarily a reason, but a better way to get people involved, right? If you tell people, that, hey, you know, I have a couple of discs I'm going to give away tonight, or, you know, I'm going to, you know, look at doing, you know, a giveaway or doing a quick little event on the weekend or what have you, you know, I think those types of things, will be a lot easier for folks like Brad. You know, as I said, somebody like myself who lives in an area that, you know, there's disc golf courses everywhere and people everywhere. It's a lot easier for folks like me to do those events. So, guys, it looks like on the YouTube channel, we've got 6 of you watching out there. Give me a quick little comment out there and let me know how the video feed looks on your side. It looks like it's still choppy on my side. It's looked that way all night. So hopefully it's not the case on your end. But if so, give me a thumbs up, give me a hello, let me know how it's looking on your end, and hopefully we can continue pushing this through. So I joined up. I've got the meeting up and ready to talk with Chase Hayden. I know with this Houston Astros and Dodgers World Series, he is probably tied up with watching it. We are, for those of you that don't know, we are 5-0, bottom of the 6th. Dodgers are up to bat with a man on first and second base, which is not necessarily a good place for the Astros to be. So it may not be the best time for Chase to join us, and that's okay. We've got plenty of time to talk about this stuff, folks. I've got Mr. Vinny Miller out there too that is interested in getting some comments out there. So Vinny, if you hold on with me for just 1 minute, I will get you this link out, and you can join me here a little bit later. All right, we've got Chase. I just heard the ding in my ear, guys. We've got the ding in my ear. So let me go ahead and pop this in. There he is up in the corner. Chase Hayden, for those of you that don't know, was part of Vibram Disc Golf Pro Team, and so obviously, man, with this rollout today, this changes some things for you, and I'm interested to hear what your input and what your thoughts are on this rollout today.
Well, it's exciting to see. Can you hear me, first of all? I forgot to check my mic.
Yeah,
okay,
cool. Sound good.
First off, obviously, it's exciting for Vibram to see that they're making some changes, trying to spice up the game some. You mentioned part of the pro team earlier. That's a bold statement there, as I'm not a pro player. Even though, yes, I was.
I did quotes. You just didn't see the quotes.
Yeah, definitely not pro team, as I'm obviously an amateur player. But I have been sponsored by Vibram for the last 3 years, and it's been a pleasure to be with them and to represent the disc company that I like and that I use and was using before they even sponsored me. So as for the changes, we've known about them as team members for the last, I don't know, month or so. You know, Jeff Laney sent out an email and communication letting us know things were coming down the pipe. It'll be a little bit different, and it is different, but I'm excited to see what changes are going to be like and who's able to get on the grip team and how Vibram is going to be able to take that and roll with it.
So in looking at, you know, the application that's out there, is that something that you will be participating in, or where's your thoughts with that?
It is. I actually filled out the application today. You know, I hope that, you know, Jeff, if you're watching, sign me up, you know. I'm looking forward to it. I signed up for it because in reality, I like Vibram. I throw Vibram. I would like to say I was representative of the brand. I'd hope they'd like to give a chance to call me back up and keep representing the brand. But if they don't and they go in a different way, you know, I'm technically okay with that. I'm not a touring pro. I recognize I'm not the Paul McBeth or Ricky Wysocki of the world that's going out and doing what they're doing in the sport of disc golf. And there may be other people that can represent the brand better in different geographic locations throughout the states or the world, depending on where Vibram takes it. They may be better suited for that than I am. And I recognize that and I get that. Disc golf is a fun thing for me to do. It's not my profession, but I definitely enjoy representing the stuff that I play with.
Yeah, makes sense, man. So in with what you've got going on in your area, kind of tell everybody what you're in Texas, I know, but you're in Houston, right? Or just outside Houston?
I'm just northwest of Houston. I'm in the Cypress area.
Okay. So there's a lot of folks. I mean, I had two folks on today. I mean, Mark and Bradley that are in Texas, and I would imagine not too terribly far from you. Do you have a lot of Vibram guys in your area in general?
Vibram's definitely a niche market, a boutique style of disc golf company. We have our strong, loyal following, like Bradley and Mark, like you mentioned before. They're in Dallas, Fort Worth area. They're about 4 hours away from where I live.
Okay.
Out in Austin, which is about 2.5 to 3 hours away from where I am, you got Vinny Miller and Jeremy Mount, and some of those guys. So there's little pockets of Vibram throughout Texas. In my immediate group, there's a decent number of people that'll have a sprinkling of Vibram in their bags. All my close friends carry Vibram, the ones I play with the most. But when we go to tournaments, I'm obviously the Vibram guy that's there with, a couple guys will use putters and some will like the mid ranges, but very few people have full bags of Vibram like I do in the tournament scene. Whereas a lot of the casual guys that I play with, bag multiple Vibram discs.
Gotcha, man. I went ahead and for those of you on the watching, I went ahead and dropped my video. I got a warning that my feed, for whatever reason, is just being a hot mess tonight. So we're looking at just Chase out there. You're going to hear just my audio for a moment until it cleans up and my bandwidth is clear. One of the things that I think there's some concern with initially when we heard that they're dropping the pro team was like, what's the incentive going to be, right? But it sounds like when I looked at what they had out there on the grip team and they said that there's, swag and discs and discounts and potentially even some cash, that sounds better than what you guys had initially.
Well, it'll be, I don't know the full details. Whenever we see all that on the announcement on the Vibram Facebook page today, obviously we're not able to see the ins and outs of the details or the contracts at this time. I know what we've had available to us over the last 3 years or so, which for what I do in disc golf and my level of competitiveness and traveling and whatnot has been more than enough. It's been plenty for me as an amateur representative of the sport. It would not be super efficient for someone who's trying to do touring, for example, based off the compensation we had in the past. And so I'm not sure how the compensation would be for the grip team coming forward on how that might associate with someone who's trying to tour through a professional style. I don't know if it doesn't sound like the financial backing from what the grip team is going to do is set up for the touring pro caliber player. Whereas it's a good representation for someone that's more in the local scene and isn't trying to make a living out of it.
Yeah, which I think, honestly, I mean, how many people are truly making a living at disc golf anyway, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, it's one of those things to where, I thought Mark had some really good ideas with, pushing towards the young kids. I mean, do you feel like that is the way to go with this thing?
I think it'd be neat. I know Steve Dodge in the past had mentioned that Vibram did not sponsor minors under the age of 18. That was something that was mentioned at the Vibram Birdie Bash World Championships up in Kalamazoo a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be a great opportunity because people have different spheres of influence depending on where they are. Some people will throw frisbees, just, like Valerie Doss, for example. She's a representative of the female disc golf market, and people will buy frisbees or discs because Val Jenkins throws them.
Yeah.
Which is good. Well, you're going to have some junior, and they're going to see some 12-year-old kid ripping these O-laces 350 feet, and they're going to grab that disc because he's a 12-year-old kid, and he wants to mimic his 12-year-old peer that he sees on video. So I can definitely see a benefit in that way. Whereas, just like Paul Macbeth, he does what he does, so people buy discs because of Paul. And so each person has their demographic or market in which they're going to be a sphere of influence. So it'll be great to see the spectrum in which people are going to be represented rather than the 19 to 25-year-old young white male that's playing disc golf right now.
Yeah. What do you think that, though, having the notoriety of just saying that you're part of the grip team is going to be enough to bring the drive to come into the brand and be excited about it?
I think Vibram as a whole has a pretty good to begin with. And many of the people that we're friends and peers with in the Facebook groups and online communities would be phenomenal representatives of Vibram, whether it's official grip team or not. I think by adding the grip team, the official status, it's going to incentivize a lot of people that already are throwing the discs and posting about them on their Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. It's going to incentivize them to want to apply so that they can truly take their representation and make it, official, and they can be receive the benefits of that representation as well.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Because I think that's safe to say, because if I go to a weekly event and I say, because I've done it, I've gone to a weekly event and been like, hey, I'm part of the test team, check out these discs. And because I said as part of the test team, people are like, oh, you're testing discs? And it's like, yeah, just give them a try, check it out. I don't care. Everybody throws it. And I think it helped. But if I could go there and say I'm part of the grip team, and the market understand that the grip team is truly all inclusive, almost pretty much, right? And then I have the ability to do giveaways or to, promote in that way. I think that's huge. People are gonna say, hey, these guys are really doing something special to try to grow this thing.
Right. I think so as well. The cool thing about it too is, and I'm not sure if it's officially going to be rolled out in this way, but it talked about discount cards in the little promo about the grip team.
Yeah.
In the past, I've seen something that like Jeff Laney has given us that has his name on it with his picture, says who he is as a representative of Vibram, and then there's a special promo code. And I don't know if exactly this is what Grip is going to be doing or not, but that is linked in one way, shape, or form so Vibram can know that Jeff provided that discount card to somebody. That person then took that discount card and went and made a purchase, and now we could potentially log Jeff's contribution to what Vibram is doing throughout the growth. So I think it'll be a neat way to potentially track how these promo codes are used amongst Grip team members that may be able to say, oh, well, Todd's over here. He's killing it in the marketing side of Vibram Disc Golf. Look at all these people who are using his promo code that's linked to him. We need to get him back for year number 2. Whereas Chase over here, he puts out videos, but nobody's buying product because of that. He may not be the best representative for us, hypothetically speaking. Yeah. So it'd be cool to see how that type of thing works, not only in the disc golf growth in the Vibram world, but also as a metric in which the team can come back and say, look, what we're doing is actually changing and putting discs in people's hands rather than, we're sponsoring players to do stuff, but potentially not seeing the measurables that come from growing Vibram disc golf.
You brought up a good point, and I'm gonna swing it back to you to elaborate. So when you look at the measurables, do you feel like Vibram wasn't seeing the measurables they were hoping to see with regards to the previous team structure they had, and that's why they changed this up?
I don't know. We obviously as team members haven't been able to see the ins and outs of the financial side of Vibram Disc Golf because we're out playing disc golf. From a small business owner standpoint, I have my own business and I do my own things. I would want to know if what I'm spending money on is becoming a profitable adventure or venture or not. Yeah. And if Vibram is feeling like they need to modify the team structure in the way that they're doing it, it would make me think that they're not seeing it as the best source of dollars. Not that we're bad, obviously, because we had great representatives. Vinny spent the whole last year going out and touring. We've had, multiple times where we can do fundraising, and, Chris out in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania has been running around. He's always at events and he's been in disc golf world for 20 years. Everybody knows all these different guys, and they're longtime players and representatives of Vibram Disc Golf and have been doing a great job within the disc golf community. But yet we don't technically know what our efforts have done in putting dollars in pockets for Vibram. So that might be why things are getting switched up some.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult, right? I mean, that's one thing that we got to consider is with this grip team, because as of right now, we have very, very little, right? Correct. I mean, there's hardly anything out there for us to really go on other than they want us to fill out an application, fill out the application so we can figure out who you are. But, we really don't know what we're applying for. I mean, when you really think about it, the contract could
You
be
mean
complete.
You don't know what you're applying for?
Right.
I'm just joking.
You probably do. But you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things to where we could be applying, and then you look at the contract, and it's like they want you to, get 10 retailers on board, and then they'll
Right.
give you a stack of discs. And
Right.
stuff like that's not realistic. So it'll be interesting to see how this balances out because, when we talked to Jeff last time, he brought up a couple good points. One of the points he brought up was that, you know, there's only one day a week that they run the disc, and then it
Right.
takes 9 minutes per disc to go through the cycle.
Correct.
I mean, I haven't done the math, but there's not a lot of discs
Right.
per year even.
Right.
So, I mean, and then he talked about how difficult it was to, get that extra production time away from shoe soles and whatever the heck else it is that they're producing.
Correct.
Isn't that a hurdle that has to be jumped over first, I would think?
I would think yes. From my understanding, Vibram Italy is definitely taking a bigger role in just seeing how the different operations throughout the world are looking at, and that's why Vibram Disc Golf is going to be playing a little bit more under the magnifying glass of what's going on and how are you being run as an industry. And so, yes, there are hurdles that Vibram Disc Golf as a whole would have to compete against because Vibram is not a disc golf company. Obviously, they're a shoe soling company and a rubber company that has $1 million interests all throughout the world doing different things. And even though it's cool that they make discs and they like to do that niche market there, we compete as Vibram Disc Golf against Vibram shoes, Vibram dog toys, Vibram Five Fingers, etc., for just time in the factories.
Yeah.
And so
it's going to be interesting, man, to see because if you get a bunch of grip team out there blowing this thing out, and then we can't fulfill where it pushes it to, it could get really interesting to see how that affects the word on the street, so to speak.
Right. On the other hand, it can definitely change the way Vibram headquarters starts looking at how we do things too. I know Jeff casually has mentioned in the past, like when the coasters came out at the beginning of the year, that turned heads with the amount of traffic that went through the website and the coasters that were purchased and how quickly something like that was able to move from an inventory standpoint when it had not shown that type of activity in the past. So we can turn some heads when we put the Vibram Disc Golf guys out on the floor. And that's why I think this grassroots movement is going to be pretty cool for them.
Yeah, I think so too. If nothing else, they're going to get a ton of inquiries and I'm hoping word on the street, right? I mean, because it helps us too in the disc golf collectors group. We're the guys in there that are peddling the collectibles back and forth. It helps us too. It brings the market back up. I know when the 420 came out, prices in the collectors group went crazy for 6 months to a year, and they've certainly leveled out quite a bit now. And so it'll be interesting to see how this thing pans out, man. I think it could be really, really good for everybody though if it's controlled. And that's the biggest thing is there's such a small staff. I'm concerned on the controls on how they're going to really manage this thing.
Right. Yeah, scalability is always a interesting endeavor whenever you're growing. So it'll be fun to see how 2018 shapes out for Vibram and disc golf.
Yeah, agreed, man. Well, there's a couple of things that questions that were out there, and one of the questions that Ben Overbeek put out there was, how will this model grow the sport and or brand in ways that the old teams didn't? What's your thoughts on that, man?
I think market saturation will change. As of the most Vibram disc golfers that have ever been sponsored at one time were 20. It sounds like through some internal communication that may be a bigger number, even though the compensations may be different. There may be more than 20 sponsored people. Though don't quote me on that. I mean, that's a possibility from some of the internal things Jeff had talked about. So more locals, more people running around that are influencers in their local community, rather than people that are trying to use disc golf as a touring model.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. So I don't know if you were on earlier, tuned in earlier when Brad Silvers was on, but he brought up some really interesting challenges with regard to rural property, he's out in what sound like pretty much in the middle of nowhere with regards to disc golf, being able to access a ton of courses. I mean, it sounded like he had quite a few courses within an hour's drive, but maybe just not the club representation. Here in Charlotte, we've got so many people in the clubs and people constantly doing events and doing stuff that it would be so easy for a guy like me to just plug in and say, hey, instead of giving away an Innova disc today, give away 2 or 3 Vibram discs today. And so what's your thoughts on with folks like that are in these rural areas? How are they going to breach some of those challenges?
It's tough. The disc golf market as a whole has a lot of avenues in which people can move discs. There's a whole lot of online retailers, some big, some small. I've got a local disc golf shop that's about 20 minutes from me. They have their own disc golf course on their shop and everything all included in one. And they're able to move discs very easily. They've got, minis that they hold there weekly. They've got sanctioned events, leagues. They do cornhole. They do everything. But they have a great venue in which they can have people come over and move some discs, and they do well with it. As for someone out in the more rural setting, it's tough. Sometimes the saturation of the market just isn't there. I'd like to, think of like a McDonald's or something. You go to some towns and there's just no McDonald's, but there's a Dairy Queen everywhere. So there's got to be room for something, but yet it may not be a place where McDonald's feels, hey, we can make a business profit here. So sorry, guys, in small town Iowa, we give you the Dairy Queen. We're just not going to compete against it. So Vibram may have to make some type of decisions like that, where they say, you know what, due to the disc golf saturation in that area, that's just not a good place for us to be right now. Obviously, this is me talking, not Vibram talking. That's just potential thoughts I've got.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think there's a lot of unanswered questions. Let's just put it that way. I mean, I think what's out there right now is definitely some good chum in the water, so to speak, though.
Right. And, Vibram's notorious for throwing out little teasers and letting you just stew on them for a bit before you get the truth or the whole picture. So it's fun to speculate over the next couple of weeks to see what's really going to go on.
Yeah, I think that, they get these applications out there, and, just from what I've seen anyway, it seems like to me that, folks have been, I don't know, pretty receptive with the teasers. They've gotten the teaser, they've been like, oh, cool, this is good. Do you think that this teaser in particular, I mean, I saw a ton of tags. I mean, people were tagging names I have never even heard of it. Hey, this would be perfect for you. Do you think that this is going to generate enough steam to really branch outside of the disc golf collectors group? Because it seems like to me that this is catering to us a little bit.
Right. Well, I would hope so. I would hope people would be excited about the potential for representing the brand. On the other hand, I hope that a lot of the people that have been longtime Vibram fellows are able to get in and be representatives. I easily think of 10 or 15 guys that we talk to on a daily basis in the Vibram group that would be exceptional, just brand representatives, because they already are. Even on the unofficial name, you mentioned Bradley and Mark. They're 2 guys in Dallas. They're putting on their own tournaments. They've reorganized their own course pretty much with permission from the city. They've bought their own sponsorships. You go to some of their courses and there's a little logo there that says sponsored by Vibram Disc Golf. And that didn't come from Vibram. That came from Bradley and Mark and their friends putting money together and doing it on their own because they've got a passion and they want people to say, hey, Vibram Disc Golf is represented well here, and we're the ones that did it. So they maintain the course. They do good community outreach, and they're great representatives of Vibram, whether they're on grip team or not.
Yeah, I think, those type of people, Jeff would be crazy not to scoop them up.
Correct.
And I hope, just with the excitement of guys like that leading the way, that there will be other folks that are like, you know what, man, I need to get on this grip team and I can do this same thing.
Right.
And that's where the personality piece comes in, and the skill set piece may not be as important, right?
Correct. And I think so too. And plus other people, like, Hayden, I'm not sure I say his last name, Kajawa, Hayden.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's posting stuff nonstop, and he's a representative of the brand, and he's using his outlets as social media disc golfer guy that's going through and playing tournaments and tagging the people that represent him. You know, he's got a local company that represents him. He's always tagging what he's throwing through Vibram. Those types of representatives, I think, you know, like you mentioned earlier, Jeff would be silly not to scoop up someone like that who's passionate about what he's doing, that's promoting the brand, that's local influencer in their community, in the disc golf sphere that they're in, that they're, I assume what the grip team is going to be is those types of individuals, the Bradleys, the Marks, the Haydens, both Haydens, of course. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I hear you, man.
But people that can use their sphere of influence for the good of the brand in order to help others know what Vibram has to offer for them.
I hear you. I think I can't really say it any better, man. I can't really say it any better. I think that's perfect. One thing that I will say is I got a message from Brian Prokop here, and he said men, women, and children with parental consent and guidance are eligible for grip. Everyone
That's awesome.
is eligible.
That's super cool. That's like the coolest thing ever, because I know when I've taken my son out to do stuff, you know, he went to the Vibram Birdie Bash World Championships with me, and his favorite disc is an O-Lace, and he's eats, sleeps, and drinks Vibram just like I do. So that's cool to see that juniors or adolescents, however you want to call them, are going to have an opportunity to represent the brands that they love as well, and not have to sit back and wait until the magic age of 18 just to do something like that.
Right. I hear you, man. Well, Chase, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I see it's the bottom of the 7th. We've got 0 outs. Houston is still up 5-1.
They are.
And we've got
Go Astros.
Yeah, go Astros. And we got Kershaw. Who is it? Yeah, Morton on the mound, but it looks like they got somebody in the bullpen warming up.
Right. Don't worry. I've been watching the play-by-play as we've been talking, just so I don't miss anything in the other room.
I hear you, brother. Well, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to try to hook up with Vinny Miller and get his thoughts on this. I think we can all agree that Vinny has been the forefront ambassador of this movement over the past year, especially really, really hard, but certainly for ever that I can remember myself. So
yeah, Vinny's a great representative. Hopefully you can get him on tonight. He's a very dear friend of mine in the Team Vibram world. I've enjoyed every moment I've had where we got to play together. Ask him about that time I beat him with that ace at the end to win. He'll love telling you all about that out in Vail, Colorado.
I'll do it.
No, Vinny's great. He beats me like every time we play against each other. Just that one time I won, though, so it was good.
Hey, we'll talk about the one time, right?
All right, cool. Well, you have a good night, Todd.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming in.
Good time.
All right, we'll talk to you. All right,
Go
bye.
Astros. Bye.
All right, that was Chase Hayden, ladies and gentlemen. We've got one more. This has been a long night, but we've got one more that we're going to hook up with. Mr. Vinny Miller is hopefully waiting for me. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the meeting link here, and as soon as Vinny is able to join us, we'll go ahead and pop him on if he's able to. I'm going to be hopeful here and hope that we will have an opportunity to talk to him. Looks like I just got a ding in my ear, which means that Vinny will be joining us in just a moment. And hopefully, Vinny, you can hear me on your end. Can you hear me? It looks like we're waiting on him to connect here. So I'm going to give it just 1 second. He is unmuted and he's got video. So here we go. Let's join Vinny into the podcast. Vinny, you have been the master ambassador over the past year with Vibram Disc Golf. I can only imagine that the past month or so has been a whirlwind of emotions for you with them dropping the team and kind of reconfiguring how they're doing things. I know that based upon what Chase said, you guys have kind of known some of the details here for the past couple of weeks, but now we're talking about it publicly. Where's your head and where's your thoughts on this thing, man?
Well, first and foremost, I'm just real happy that Vibram is trying something. I mean, not that something was broke, but always making changes, always pushing the envelopes. I'm sorry, I'm moving around. Like Chase, I'm watching these Astros. Come on, man.
I hear you, brother.
But I am real happy that we have we have somebody that's taking lead and trying some new things, you know, and taking us in other directions. I mean, bottom line is the brand wants to increase its market share and its visibility, and you know, why wouldn't I enjoy that? I mean, of course, I'm always going to support that side of the business.
Do you think that Vibram as a whole was, you know, dissatisfied with Team Vibram? You know, the kind of the pro team, the amateur team that was out there. Where you know, Chase brought up, you know, kind of the, you know, the give and take. You know, they see that certain people are going out there doing some things, and it's clear that they're helping grow the brand, and they see some product orders or what have you. Was that a concern, you think? Was it just not working?
No, I think it was working in some platforms. I mean, you know, I worked 25 years in the corporate, and I know what it is to become complacent and not to continue to push the envelope. And that's why I agree with the direction they're going in, because they're pushing the envelope, and also so that, you know, they're going to have a yearly. Gosh, I hope y'all can see me.
No, we can see you great, man. You're good.
Perfect. But I'm just, you know, it's easy to becoming complacent and not think outside the box. And so I commend the brand in pushing us in that direction. You know, because some of the team members were complacent. You know, we took our orders from Steve back in the day, and now we need to be a little bit more imaginative and be able to push ourselves to continue to represent Vibram in the light with a compensation light on it. Because, I mean, of course, all of those rubber heads are going to go out, and we're going to push the rubber. We're going to want disc golf to embrace Vibram. But, you know, it's up to us as representatives that are going to be compensated to push the envelope. And so I think this is a good direction for them.
Do you think that you know, what Mark Cantrell brought up earlier, you know, pushing towards the kids, do you think that that's probably the path of least resistance, you know, going with the young kids and kind of getting these new cats that are coming in, or do you think that we'll have the possibility of, you know, converting some old school plastic guys?
Well, you know, you can't tell a Chevy man you need to drive a Ford.
Right.
And so, I mean, that is definitely going to be a challenge in its own. And of course, when you brought up kids, I'm thinking more of a little bit bigger platform as far as just new people to the product. You know, kids are definitely going to be new because they're young and coming into the sport. But as a whole, the flux of growth that's into the sport is where the opportunity is. Because in reality, there's a very elite group of disc golfers, and then there's somewhat of an elite group of golfers, and these are small percentages of the actual disc golf sports population, let's call that. But the majority of it is just that, recreational, casual golfers, new people to the product, you know, family outings. You know, you see the team builds and business platforms. I mean, so there's the bigger market, and I see the direction they're going in, and it's a viable direction. I mean, it's why not tap into try to introduce the brand to a beginner who is let's call them, that hasn't been infected by the plastic. But I mean, that's there's a bigger population to expose the brand to. So yeah, no, I agree with Mark. You know, I mean, the young people, the new people, that's who's going to make the brand grow within the sport. Now, you know, obviously, all the brands growing means the sport is growing. So, you know, I wish success for everyone. And so, because that just is, it makes the game, it makes the sport. I'm kind of between those two words now, game, sport. Not real sure where to put that, but definitely the brand needs to approach the bigger market, and which I think the bigger market right now is the explosion of growth. So, I mean, like I said, I really like the direction. I know from the insight that they're going to start asking questions from the beginners and the people that are not as successful with disc golf. What is the challenges? How do we fix that? Because if I can put a product in a beginner's hand and immediately they're showing success, there's more of a hook on that versus having to adjust body type, adjust throw type, or adjust skill type to be able to handle a product. And so with Vibram looking into that and getting the feedback from the beginners and the casual players, I think they're going to develop a more successful brand.
Do you think that the other players that were on, Team Vibram before, Mike DeSalt, Chris, and Mitch, and some of these other folks, and do you think that they should be excited about this too? I mean, it sounds to me like you're pretty excited about it. I mean, from what I saw so far, I mean, I don't know all the details, but from what I saw so far, they still have the ability to get compensated with discs and whatnot. So, I mean, it sounds like it's not too far off from what you guys had before.
No, it's not too far. Sorry about the earthquake there.
You're fine. You're fine.
But no, I don't think it's not far off for our compensation package. Of course, some of us got a little bit more. I mean, we got the invites to Vail, Colorado. I was blessed to go do that 3 years in a row, and what an experience, what a memory came out of that. And it was all based upon how we wanted to approach ourselves and how we made ourselves available. Unfortunately, I've been able to make myself available, whereas people like Michael DeSalle, I love the guy. The guy's got two little guys that, he's got granted, he's a Vibram team member and representative, but he's also a dad. And, and when you start filling the shoes like that, you got to take priorities. And he made the right decisions. He loves the product. He plays with the product. He promotes the product, and he really loves his kids. So, you got to pick and choose your battles there. And so, I mean, I think Steve said it a long time ago. Disc golf is beyond the first steps of growth. We've gone to another level. And I think that's where the brand is. We've gone past the first steps of our livelihood in this market share, and it's time to start looking outside of those steps and making bigger steps. And so I think we're moving in the right direction, and I'm excited. I'm excited for him. I'm real excited for him.
So one of the things I saw out there, was a message from, I guess it was Maple Worm is technically who it is, right? So Worm's out there, and he was questioning, when is there going to be a national disc golf representative and that sort of thing. Do you think that that's even? I mean, we have Jeff Laney who's kind of running things with disc golf, and then Brian Prokop, from what I can tell on my end, is doing a pretty good job with doing some good things with the social media aspect of things. I mean, is there really a national disc golf representative title that has to be filled to make this thing successful?
No, I don't think so. I think just continuously putting out a consistent product and identifying where the market needs to move to is going to be the success. I believe Jeff has got a rein on what's going to happen with the product, and and I'm real excited to see how that all shakes out. I mean, I've seen plenty of management come into a corporate setting and try to reinvent the wheel, and after a couple of years, you just full circle. You're back to where you started. And then I've also seen management come in and shake up what you thought was a good product or a good process, and it just takes it to another level. And I saw that with the Dell computer. I mean, I was fortunate enough to watch that little company come from a garage to a worldwide identity. And that took management going, hey, we need to try something new. And so I think that's what Jeff's doing, and I think it's got a great future. I mean, it's definitely identifying who the people we want to have throwing the product is the biggest challenge. And I think this is a great opportunity.
I think so. And I think the way that it opens the door for multiple different avenues of people too, as long as they go out, and to me, I would do a shotgun blast. I mean, I would just straight up like get as many people that are excited about it as possible, and then look at year 2 and, you know, drop off the folks that really didn't do what they said they were going to do, and continue to grow the team bigger and bigger. I just hope that they don't say, oh, well, we're going to have one person per state, and that's where we're drawing the line. You know, I hope that there's not those type of restrictions.
Well, no, I think that's I think in reality that defining lines like that won't work, because I mean, you're going to have market shares grow in different areas, and you're going to have, you can't spread one person so thin. And I mean, and I can utilize the state of Texas. I mean, there's some great people that involved, great rubberheads. You guys, I love you guys, by the way. But I mean, there's a lot of different identities that have done a lot in Texas, and that's why I believe our market share is the highest is from Texas, and the New England area is competitive with each other. And so to define rigid lines, I think is not going to work out. And the reason I say that is because of just that. You can't expect one person to cover a very populated state that's got a lot of opportunity in it, because all you're going to do, you start making someone thin as far as your marketing person, then what you're going to get is him not being able to commit enough that he needs. And so I think it's by region, by state is too rigid, whereas by market share and how you're trying to identify and attack those market shares. Because I mean, if we looked at the West Coast and we went up along West Coast, there's not a lot of Vibram there. So maybe get that one person in there. But now if you go to the South, you've got a lot of Vibram here. And so to expect one person to be able to satisfy and caress that relationship with the market share, let's call them the market share, it's going to be too much for one person. So I think identifying it by need is going to be a better solution. But I mean, again, you got to start somewhere. So this is a good way to identify to it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think in markets like yours and markets like mine, where we've got so many different groups, I mean, we've got, within 30 minutes, I've got 4 or 5 different disc golf clubs that are legit. I mean, guys that are like really, really involved in doing weekly events. And, the Charlotte Disc Golf Club has an event every single night of the week. So in markets like this, I feel like a team of people in Charlotte, for instance, or a team of people in Austin, to where so there's an event and there happens to be 4 people from the grip team there. Who cares? That's good, right? And that gets people even more excited, I think.
Yeah, and also it's like it goes back to your term shotgun blast. You got 4 people there pushing the product. It becomes a very dominant conversation amongst the people there. So I mean, it's not a bad thing. And again, I'm going to go back. I think getting with the casual player, because I had very fortunate to meet a lot of really cool people out there, and they're not pro golfers. In fact, I met I met a guy that, I can't think of his name now. I'm sad because I really like the guy. Too many people.
You'd remember his face, right?
He's making plans. Huh?
You'd remember his face, though.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. He looks. He's Cincinnati or Ohio. My gosh. But again, I go back. He wasn't playing a lot of disc golf, and so that alone showed me that the brand is out there, even though they're not even. You're professional, you're a tournament golfer. And, and he opened his door. Gosh, I'm so sad I can't think of his name.
Was it Ben Lilly? Is that who you're talking about?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Todd. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Got you covered, brother.
Yeah, Ben Lilly is the man. He's a great youth minister. He takes care of his kids, got a wonderful wife. And he's not able to play right now. He's got some physical things that are working against him, but, he's all about the brand. And so that's a guy that doesn't play tournaments. That's a guy that has got a lot of exposure to the youth with his youth ministry and stuff. So, I mean, he's a perfect fit for the grip. He's a perfect fit, And so I like the direction they're going. I feel like, and I guess that's because I'm trying to keep my relationship with Vibram.
Right.
Is I think they need professional people out there. There's going to be certain people, and I feel like I filled that spot a couple times. I hear my horn. Let me get up on my box real quick. But Rubber Meets the Road. That was a great adventure. I mean, not just for me, but also for the brand. I felt like. I mean, I'm sure there's
this year
6,000 or 7,000 cars out there that pulled in behind the RV and saw the big Vibram brand and was like, "Wow, look at those mud flaps. Those are shoes."
Yeah. Yeah,
So, I mean,
exactly.
I think for sure there's going to be some people that are, of course, I'm going to put my application out there, and hopefully, there's more people that in our region, our state, or how they're going to put it. I mean, because I love everybody. Brian, love you guys. Bradley, Mark, Chase, you guys, Todd, yourself. I mean, you're not in Texas, but Jeremy Mount. I mean, there's a lot of people that have made Vibram what it is, and and hopefully we can find a happy spot for everybody, and we continue to do what we do. I'm going to put my application in. I hope my reputation talks for itself. I'm actually not. I saw you punctually talking about the comment sections and stuff like that. I'm just going to kind of leave that to blank because I'm pretty sure it's going to be Jeff reading it, and me and Jeff have got a good relationship, and we'll just see how that goes. I don't think I have any favoritism because I think I fulfilled a lot of my contractual needs over the years, and I think I've done what I had done. And it's not that I want to step away from rubber. I mean, I love the rubber. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, Ridge is my money. The lace is my bomb. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff out there, and I'll continue to utilize it even if I'm not on the team. And if I don't make the team, it would be sad, but it's not going to be a setback for me. I mean, I'm going to continue to do what I do and be a part of an amazing family because I've never met a group of guys like you. I mean, I've yourself and others. So and I mean that, and I'm not just whistling Dixie here. I've been a part of the end of the teams, Millennium teams, and when you get grassroots family like y'all, like us, the Rubberheads, hey man, you can't go wrong.
Yeah,
I'm probably rambling a little bit here.
You're good,
but
man.
I will say
You're good.
The Astros are still up 5-1.
They are. I just took a peek myself, and they're turning it around, going to the ninth. It looks like, or maybe no, bottom of the eighth, I guess.
Sir.
Yeah, so that'll be good.
Bottom of the eighth.
Well, here's my thoughts, Vinny, and we'll try to wrap it up here in the next couple of minutes. I think that a lot of times here in the marketplace, people are throwing discs that their friends are throwing, but they get validated that they should be throwing that disc because they see a pro that may be throwing it or a pro that's represented by that team. Do you feel like with this grip team concept that just straight, again, the term shotgun blast approach will be enough to turn some folks that are outside that friend circle?
I think it'll be sufficient. I mean, I don't know if it's enough. I think it'll be sufficient for these steps that we're going through right now. But it does help to have a better player out there telling. Well, let me back this up. A better player that can present themselves and share the brand in a way that is acceptable. People, I mean, there's reasons we have teachers and professors. They have a knack, they have a gift. Right. And so that's the kind of people I think they're going to be looking for, the people that are going to be able to impact and be very impersonables with people. And so I think having a pro, that personality on the grip team is a good thing. And, and that's all going to be based upon the applications. And it'll, it will show. I mean, I will tell you this, Jeff's going to have his hands full because there's a lot of good people out there. And, we can just see, I can't wait to see who these people are identified. I mean, not just to critique or anything like that, as much as just to see the excitement of the individuals that are going to be a part of this, because I know a lot of people want to be a part of this, and being a part of it for the history I've had so far, it's been real exciting. And so I'm so stoked to see new people involved and how they're going to take this to another level.
What type of training and guidelines do you think that will have to be implemented, though, to really get people out there speaking what they should be and kind of having that quality conversation? I mean, you were in the corporate world for a long time. I'm sure you ran into the people that had the title that really shouldn't have the title, right? I mean, there's a lot of folks out there that are super excited, but if you excited an idiot, what did you do? You excited an idiot. I mean, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good, right? So there's kind of that concept too, that people, oh, I want to be part of the team, and and on this application form they look like they're great people, but then you could run into some issues, right? People that look awesome online, we represent ourselves differently on Facebook than we do locally and in person.
Sure. I mean, and I think what you're going to see with Jeff, and he's real good about his checks and balances. You're going to be measured. You're going to be, you're going to be scrutinized. That's for sure. I mean, you'll have to have a particular amount of social media involvement. You'll have to have a lot of hands-on, and you're going to have these checks and balances. And with technology today, those are easily checked.
Yeah.
Because because I mean, because it's required. I mean, get on social media, be able to communicate, be able to have good words. I mean, that's a part of the impression of the brand is how it's presented. And so and knowing Jeff, he's got a great process of checks and balances, and he'll be holding people accountable to their contracts. And I think that's where the yearly contract thing is. And I think I think the best part of all this is that every year you have to reapply.
Yeah.
Because, the technology changes, the person changes, the person's schedule changes. I mean, there's people that become fathers. There's people that, move on to other things. And so I think that's the most exciting thing, is like to have to prove yourself. And so to be involved with the team, you're going to have to adhere to checks and balances, be accountable, and and like I said, best part is reapplying yourself and what you expect, what your expectations and their expectations are.
Well, and I think that also gives Vibram Disc Golf the opportunity to lift and shift a little bit, the things that are good, and then drop the things that are bad, because let's face facts, what happens with Grip 2018 is not going to be what's Grip in 2019, I would guess, right? There'll obviously be changes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's good.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I hope that they install some sort of hierarchy system with this team blowout to where they've got folks like yourself, and and where I would personally love to see this is if Jeff can work it out to where old team Vibram can kind of be the team leads of the guys that are out there, that are the grip team, because, you've got somebody like myself. I'm fairly educated with Vibram. I feel like I could go in and represent the brand very well. But then there's other folks that, are awesome with their local groups, but just don't know Vibram enough yet, right? And they're going to need a little bit more guidance.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be important.
Just them getting outside of their own box. I mean, like your comfort zone would be your local people, but can you walk up to a stranger and go, "Here, check this out"?
Yeah, absolutely.
And get the people factor. So that's a huge trait.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how that progresses and to see how we can measure. I mean, that's what I do as a living, is measure and analyze data. So it'll be interesting to see how Jeff organizes that to gather that data in such a way that it can be a level playing field for everybody, right? Because if one of the aspects is that you have to share on social media, well, if I share 5 times on social media versus somebody who's 2 times, is the 2 times guy not as good, or was his more quality or higher quality? It's going to be some tricks in there, man. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, when you start putting quality and quantity together, it becomes very tactical as far as measurement. Oh,
you flipped on me.
Oh no!
You're good, man. You're good. We still got you live. We got you right in the middle. You're good. So let's. You still there, Vinny? I think we may have lost him, folks. His video is frozen. We're going to give him a second to unfreeze. Hey, while Vinny's unfreezing here, I am actually going to do, with permission, obviously, I'm not doing this on my own without permission. I have permission to give a sneak peek. Okay, so we've got a sneak peek coming up. If you bear with me for just one moment, I'm going to load up this sneak peek, and I think that some of us will be very excited about this sneak peek. It is something that, the folks in the group, if you're part of the Vibram Disc Golf Collectors group, get out there and check this thing out, because this is going to be an event that I feel like will probably be getting bigger year after year after year. And with that being said, the gentleman that runs this thing is a top-notch guy. So here we go. I'm loading this thing up, and right here. So guys, this is your sneak peek. I'm going to blow it out here. Your sneak peek for the Frozen Toad Open. There it is, guys. Discbite.com. If you want one of these discs, go to discbite.com, and Michael Taliaferro, hopefully I pronounced that right, Michael, will get you hooked up, y'all. He will get you hooked up with one of these discs. This is a fundraiser for him. So get out there, show him some love. For those of you not in the Disc Golf Collectors group, go join the Disc Golf Collectors group on Facebook, Vibram Disc Golf Collectors group on Facebook. There's awesome conversation in there. There's awesome people in there. As you heard tonight, several different guests. We treat each other like family as much as we possibly can with, the social media world that we live in and interact in here. So we had Bradley Bramlett join us tonight, Mark Cantrell join us tonight, Chase Hayden join us tonight, and Vinny Miller join us tonight. I had to start this damn podcast 4 different times, but we are now on hour number 3 almost with getting this thing going. I appreciate each and every one of you who joined in, whether it be now, later, earlier, whatever it may be. For all of you, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate you spreading the love and continuing to support me in this crazy mess that I put myself in. But go out there, apply for the grip team. Even if you're like not quite sure, go do it, because the more people that we have out on the street that can talk about Vibram, talk about why they like Vibram, talk about, why it's better. People just don't understand why it's better, but if we continue to push that message on them, eventually they're going to give it a try. And you know what? They may not like the first Vibram disc you give them. They may not like the second Vibram disc you give them. But maybe that third time that you say, hey, you know what? You didn't like the VP. You didn't like the Ridge. Give the Summit a try. And then they fall in love with the Summit. And that's how it happens. That's how it happens. One baby step at a time. Continue to grow the brand. Continue to look at it in a way to say, hey, I can grow the brand and get a little bit of love here and be part of something. That's what I like about this, is that we're all going to have the opportunity to be part of this growth. It's not going to be Innova's huge because of Paul Macbeth or, because of the champ. We know that's a big part of it. I mean, obviously Innova's done a lot of other stuff too, but that's a big part of it, right? We know that Dynamic Disc is killing it with a lot of their pros that they've got right now. Vibram's not going that direction. Vibram is saying to you out there right now, they're saying, we want you, the average regular Joe, we want to have you be part of this growth. We want you to be part of this family. We want you to look back a year from now, 6 years from now, a decade from now, and say, you know what, I was part of that. Maybe I only contributed 1%. Maybe I contributed 5%. Whatever the hell the number is, doesn't matter. But you can truly look back and say, I was part of that. And that's huge. The fact that Vibram is opening that door and saying, We want you to be a part of it. To me, is humbling. I think it's huge. I think it's something that we've all kind of down deep wanted. We want a reason to be part of a team. And the fact that Vibram is accepting all of us in this manner and giving us this opportunity, to me, is bigger than anything else we've got going out in the disc golf community right now. Honestly, I think this grip team could be bigger than anything else in the disc golf community right now. Go out there, guys. Go apply. The post, I put it on my page. I shared it earlier today. Go out there. The link's on there. Grip 2018 on the Vibram Disc Golf site. Go apply. Fill out your application. Even if you're